Yeah, I don't poo my pants so much.
This now has to be the poo in the pants episode. We've loved chatting to Laura on this episode. It really was one of those episodes that could have just kept going. There's some really insightful bits, I don't think we've met anyone who's as in the moment as this. And really, you're just going to have to keep listening to find out why we're discussing pooping your pants for the first time ever on the podcast. And should this episode be called the Pooping the Pants episode or the Amanda Johnson episode? Let us know. If you're new here, we'd love a subscribe to the channel. We'd love a like. We'd love a thumbs up. And if you think anyone else could benefit from listening, why not share it with them? Thank you so much.
Right, Alan, I think you're leading this one.
I am.
All right.
All right. You okay, Laura? You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Take a deep breath and relax.
Right. Laura, welcome along to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we like to start at the very, very beginning with everyone. And we have the same question we ask, which is, what are you trying to achieve right now?
Right now I'm just trying to get through every day. And that's not in an ominous way, but just basically just making sure that I'm servicing the clients, I'm feeling okay, plenty of self-care, the team are all right, and everyone's having, if we have an okay day, that's good. Anything above okay is amazing. But it's just striving for an okay day every day, and that's what I really want. And just to continue to love what I do and just get through it, because it's a roller coaster.
No, it is, right? And you don't really get more in the moment than that. I mean, we absolutely agree that life is an adventure, roller coaster, whichever way you want to frame it, right? It's all the same. But I quite like that whole. Oh, sorry, it's just reminded me of one thing, Laura. We will come back to you, but it has reminded me of something that I was talking about on the school run yesterday. There's a meme doing the internet that basically says, if you haven't pooped your pants today, then today is a good day. Right. Wow. And it makes me smile.
That makes me smile too, but I've got Crohn's. So sometimes I have done that. I mean, I'll be honest. Not all the time, well, Laura, but happened to me once. So I appreciate the meme, but
I did not think this was going to get to this point of the conversation so early in our conversation. But there's also a really great.
I'm loving it.
There's a Crohn's disease advert, or there was a campaign over the spring summer of this year, and it was of a girl who was went to go to an interview, and she couldn't get to a public toilet, and then she would end up being late for her other job, and then she got literally bawled out by her boss, and then she turned around and she went, I've just this is how I've got, and basically she pooed her pants, and he's like, oh mate, arm rounded, you know what, that's absolutely fine. And that whole campaign made me smile, because they not made light of it, but they made it is a real thing, isn't it? And it is
honestly, it is real life, and it's not a great thing to talk about, but it happens, and it's happened to me before.
Why not talk about it? It's normalising something.
Normalise pooping your pants, everyone.
I'm not embarrassed about it. I tend to not do it so much recently, but I have been known to. Or
no.
Out on a dog walk in the forest.
Look, I don't have Crohn's, but I'm a stupid person at times. I have my own versions of this story, which I tell the kids, and they absolutely get embarrassed by. Right. I like the fact that this has been covered. This appeals to my like things like this. But can we go back to what are you trying to achieve? I feel we may come back to pooping pants at some point. I feel it's going to be a theme. But
okay.
I love the living in the moment thing. Do you have like long-term personal or business, long-term goals, dreams, aspirations that being in the moment is building towards?
Yes, definitely. So when I first started out as a VA, virtual assistant, I was just on my own, and I always wanted to just work on my own, have my clients, not have a team, because I just wanted to do, know what I was doing, and I'd just be the only person in the business. Then I got to the point and I decided that actually I really miss those water cooler moments that I had in corporate office times, when I would go out, grab my drink, and I'd have a little chat with someone, or I might talk to someone at lunchtime. I really, really miss those moments. So I tried to create those moments by bringing on a team, because then we could hang out together on Zoom or have phone calls or, WhatsApp, just to have some people around me, and that's really helped. It's been really lovely. And we did actually win an award last year for VA with a small team, and we're finalists this year for VA with a small team, and I'm semi-finalists. Beg your pardon, semi-finalists. We find out on 30th of September if we're in the final, and I've got to finalist of outstanding VA this year as well. So living in the moment is building up to all those moments. So when I apply for an award, or I get to work with a client I've always wanted to work with, or I'm able to join a community, like your community. I've wanted to be part of the digital circus for a while, and now I've been able to do that. So it's super important that living in the moment, it really does create opportunities for you to join other things. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. But it also comes with its own level of stresses, surely, in terms of, what you've done there is incredible. You've gone, actually, I recognise the isolation of being a solopreneur, and those and I think people do forget that. And my brother at the moment has just gone free. Like he's a corporate videographer, and he's always worked in larger teams, and this is the first time this summer he's gone, do you know what, I'm turning 40, this is the time that I need to go out into the world and do it for myself. And he's gone from that large team of conversation and out with clients to suddenly being, I'm working from my house. He's got a shed at the bottom of his garden right now, completely isolated. A bit like you and your little pod right now.
And pod.
People, it's a big shift to go from having a bubble of people to actually being completely by yourself, and to recognise that and to go, right, I need to bring people into my life. That's brilliant. But then you have the added element of, now I have a team. I'm responsible for other people as well.
Yeah.
Do you find that quite stressful, or is that something you've just embraced?
So I've embraced it, but I'm not going to lie, I do find it stressful, because I'm a very caring person, and I've never had a team. So it was a real shift of actually being on my own and managing just myself, to actually having a team of amazing VAs in their own right, with their own businesses, collaborating with me. And sometimes it is stressful, because there might be times when it's not going quite as we thought with a client. There's always like negatives and positives that happen all the time. It might be that team member at that point might be struggling a little bit. That might be through work, or it might be personal, and there's all these things to sort of all these hurdles and different scenarios to combat, and sort of like, when I haven't got anyone to ask, I sort of like, I've got to make these decisions. I'm the boss of this, and I've got to make these decisions. So I mean, it's been super helpful to have mentors throughout my 4 years. So Amanda Johnson from the VACT.
Isn't it the Academy. Amanda Johnson? The Amanda Johnson.
The Amanda Johnson. Absolutely awesome, amazing. Obviously, Amanda. She's been a massive rock and a support to me throughout my journey. And I've actually spent the last 2 days doing a mental health first aid course with Mary Claire Gale from Sunflower Thinking, who is just awesome. And I've done that for me for a personal reason, but I also did it so I'd be able to support the team more as well, and also my clients if it comes to it. And it's not, I think a lot of people might not know what that role is, but it's not a counselling or therapy role. It's really just a listening role, a supporting role, and signposting that person, if they're needing some help. So I spent the last 2 days doing that. I feel really empowered, and I feel really privileged and honoured to now be part of that, mental health first aider community. So another community that I'm now involved in. It just adds to having that support network and having those fantastic people around you, so you really, like, we've always talk about, like, obviously our ecosystem, but it's creating that community ecosystem that we can all just dip in and out when we need to in different areas of business, or maybe that personal support that you need.
I absolutely, and hold on, I have a question, but I need to respond to this first. So
Okay.
it's I don't think people realize, hold on, it's also irrelevant what people think and realize, right?
True.
But I think as solopreneurs and business owners, it is so lonely when you go from employment with water cooler moments and you go to running your own business. You have to make 100% of the decisions, from pricing to, can I put this on sale? What do I put on social media? How do I reply to this inquiry? How do I reply to this complaint?
Is it
Yeah,
gonna,
yeah, and I don't think people who perhaps are thinking about running their own business as a solopreneur, freelancer type size, by themselves,
Yes, yeah.
sometimes factor in that they will literally have to do. I mean, it sounds stupid saying it out loud. Of course, you've got to do everything. You run your own business, but I don't think you realize how much, if you're buying a computer, what type of computer, what microphone, what lights, what desk do I want, what hours do I work? It's unbelievable the amount that goes through our heads. So,
Yeah.
and also as a couple, right, we still have our own version of that. Yes, we are.
Yes.
I get to,
I think it's actually trickier as a couple because there's.
Oh, I don't know. I reckon there's a million people working by themselves who'll go get knotted
At
to
least
that.
you don't have an argument with yourself every time you're having a husband and wife.
We don't have that many, not anymore.
Anyway, what was your question?
Well, hold on. I also wanted to go back to the community part. Now, really interestingly, one of the many reasons we wanted to do this podcast was for people who are working by themselves to realize that they're not by themselves, that there are others out there, and so they could listen to these stories and adventures and realize that is genuinely one of the reasons we wanted to do it. Right, my question is nothing about communities, although we all know how important they are and how amazing the Amanda Johnson is. But have you always been this in the moment, this kind of attuned to what's going on? Is this like Laura as a child that's just extrapolated up to the business owner? Or, is there, what were you like as a kid? Were you like this?
I was quite quirky as a kid. My husband will laugh at this, but yeah, I mean, I'm probably quite similar now. But I just remember seeing like a picture of me and my mum, and we'd gone down to Cornwall, and we sat on this sort of wooden bench thing, and I've got a gnome's hat on and like a fishing rod, and obviously it was part of the place that we went to, and I'm making this like face, and I don't know. I just think I've always been a bit quirky. I'm a bit of a nerd. Like I haven't been ever a cool kid, but I've just always been like very creative and sort of loved people and being caring and just, fun. But I think, being in the moment, I haven't done it all of my life. I think I probably didn't do it as much when I was in corporate, because you're taken away with all that, the rigid sort of meetings you have, the strategy. It's all very, this all the time. You're carried away with all the team you're working with, or the CEOs, or the C-suite that you're working with. There's guidance there. There's other people there that are running the business. You go in and do your job. You do your job very well, but you've got other people that are taking the lead. They're doing the marketing. They're doing the finance. They're doing the HR. They're doing the community engagement. They're doing the staff events. You've got other people, haven't you, in all the departments. When you're like us, it's just us. You're like chief marketer, chief events organizer, chief financer. You're literally everything. So I think you have to live in the moment as a small business owner, because if you blink, you're going to miss something. And and it is actually a lot. Yeah, it can be a lot of pressure. And I speak to a lot of people that have got small businesses, and they do, then it's not all sunshine and rainbows. I put a lot of posts out that are really positive on my LinkedIn and my Instagram, because I love sharing and celebrating the wins. But also, I put out there when I was very ill and I had surgery, because I just want people to see the me, warts and all. We won't bring it up again, Alan, but pooping in the car, Do you know what I mean? The real me, and that helps with that like, know, and trust, that we talk about, and it helps people to get a real sense of you and to know that they'd want to work with you or not. Whether you are their person, even if you're not that cool, or you might be a bit nerdy like me, bit of an acquired taste.
I think Laura's really cool.
She is so cool.
Honestly, we don't know you. Honestly, you are cool in our head.
We got
very
excited when you signed up to do this podcast. We went, "Oh, Laura said yes." But there's two aspects to that. Number one, just on a very briefly touch on. So after you've been pulled, and what I think is a testament to you is that when you came back into the fold after your little time away, is that I saw that initial post going, "I'm back." And the outpouring of love towards you as a person, and the amount of people going, "Oh my God, she's back, they're amazing," and like giving you all that love and support is testament to you as a person, as to how much you have built up that network around you of people who go, "Do you know what? Laura's in our inner fold. She's in our inner circle." Regardless of the industry, you're all in different industries. You have built that, and that's testament to you as a character. But the other thing I just want to sort of touch upon.
Can I just say, we can discuss pooping your pants as much as you like. I'm more than happy with it.
No, I do want everyone to just remember this podcast for the pooping pants.
Too late, Laura.
I have to get a t-shirt, that'd be memes. Oh.
Laura, it'll get you the click-throughs though, darling. Don't worry about
that.
Yeah, okay.
Personal brand.
I was bringing it back in. What I wanted to, you said that you were the quirky kid, and that actually goes a long way for me as well, because we're currently going through a little phase with our eldest child. We talk about our kids a lot on this podcast, but Lydia Rose is that quirky kid right now. She's not quite found. People don't quite understand her. She is the one who would be like with a gnome hat holding it. She doesn't care about what
I blame her parent. It's always the parents' fault, don't you?
But what I love seeing are the characters in adult life like yourselves who are self-confessed the quirky kids. At this end of where we are in our lives now, going, it really matters not. And those people who don't quite understand you, or you're not quite the cool kid, everything. I actually would much rather be what we are now than that.
Yeah, but the challenge is, as we all know at our age, that Lydia Rose in the moment is not necessarily enjoying. I don't want to say she's not.
She is. But I think there's something to be said. The quirky kids will go far in life, and you are, again, go back, your testament to that. You were the quirky kid, and you're still quirky now, and you're nailing it at life. It's brilliant. So Laura, what made
I had a question. You're jumping
I'm jumping in because you talked. So you had a life in employment. What was the catalyst for you leaving? And
that was my question.
Oh, it's like we're intrinsically linked.
It's not bad. We have actually had a domestic this morning, so we're glossing over it.
You're so in tune, aren't you? You're like so in tune. So the reason that I had the change was I got made redundant. But not only did I get made redundant, but 249 other people in the business, the whole of the business, got made redundant. So it was a really negative time, but a real positive time as well, because we were all in it together, and we were a really close-knit company. We were really like a family. And everyone was really sort of upset and shocked when we got told that this new company were coming in. They didn't want to, they didn't want the staff. They didn't want us, even though we were an amazing team, all of us, 250 of us. They didn't want us. They only wanted a customer book. And that happens a lot, and these companies get bought out, and unfortunately, they don't want the team. They just want those, they want the assets. They want the customers. But out of that came me thinking, I don't want to be in corporate anymore. I don't want to be in an office anymore. I've loved it. I've done it for 22 years. I don't want to do this anymore. And I took the risk, and I went to a networking group, and I met somebody who was doing a course with the Amanda Johnson. And she said to me, "This course is amazing. Amanda's amazing. If you want to be a VA, you need to speak to Amanda." So I reached out to Amanda, and as I say, the rest is history. But I did the course, the VA Mastery course, passed that. I started to, before I got any clients, I actually was employed part-time by the Bumblebee Conservation Trust, and I worked with the wonderful Jill Perkins. She was the CEO. So I worked with them for a while while I was building up my clients. And then I got my first client, which was like amazing, but it was it was a referral from my old CEO. She referred me to somebody, and then it just took itself and it grew, and then I was able to then take on more clients, and unfortunately then say goodbye to the Bumblebee Conservation Trust because I was wanted to fully launch into the VA business. But it's 4 years ago now, and actually I feel like I've been doing it for a lot longer than 4 years, and it's not in a negative way, just because so much has happened. Like, literally so much has happened in the 4 years. I feel I could write a short book about what's happened, and
book.
all the stuff sort of like, work wise and personally. I might do that actually at one point.
No, do it. So first of all,
you should.
there's an announcement, everyone. Laura's writing a book. Second thing is, the Amanda Johnson's been mentioned so much, this now could become the Amanda Johnson episode, not the pooping your pants episode. So
Yeah, we could switch it. We need to dial her in, actually, don't we? We need to get her in.
We should do.
Laura, are we
though,
set up for that? We could probably get her here right now.
Hi, Amanda. I know you're incredibly busy too, but could you
She might not be. It's Friday morning. She might be having a coffee with her hubby.
But Laura, like,
shall I send her a note?
If you want to, Adam, but it's about Laura, not about Amanda.
Yeah, all right.
But Laura, like, you have it. You've only been. You have been running your business for 4 successful years, and you have come such a long way in those 4 years, and it's a short space of time. What is it that you have done compared to the person to your left and to your right that has propelled you so far? I mean, I again, looking at your skill set, it's very clear that you are a very highly organised person, as we saw before we even hit record, Laura. We were like, she's ready. We've got prompt cards.
I've got to share this. So that all our podcasts are unplanned. We don't script them. We only have 2 questions, and Laura turned up with a quick card. We're like, Laura, we've not asked you any questions.
Literally. Loving it. But anyway.
I love this. So what is it that you do that has got you to where you are right now with the business in such a short space of time?
So it's really weird actually. I might come across to people as being quite confident, but I'm actually not that confident. It takes me a lot to do things. I've not got a lot of confidence in myself and my and what I can achieve and what I can do. And that really is me being like honest and raw about this. My confidence is not that big, but I've always worked hard. I've always listened to people and taken advice. I've always been interested in continuing to learn new things, not being closed off to learning how to do something differently, even though you might have done it for like years, but actually there might be a new and a better way. So I'm not ever closed off to change in any aspect of the business or personally. I think change can be a really great thing if it's done in the right way and it's done not done too quickly so it causes stress. I think planned change, and sometimes a quick change here and there is good, but if it's a massive change, it needs to be thought about. But I've always just wanted to just work really hard and be really proud about the business and proud about who I work with, proud about who I can collaborate with. I love just reaching out to people. I love meeting new people. I'm always wanting to connect with someone new and just find out about their business, what they're doing, what their passions are. Is there any way that I can help? Even if I'm not working with them, I really like just connecting people, so they might be able to work together, or someone might just be able to help that person out. I think I've always been like that. I just really want everyone to just enjoy their work, love what they do, go to work every day and think, wow, I'm so lucky to do this job because I absolutely love it and I get to work with these awesome people. I get to go out and meet new people all the time. I do that, and I want other people to be able to do that and enjoy it as well. So I think all the VAs, there's so many of us out there, we all have a different skill set. I feel like brilliant in our own rights, but we do collaborate a lot, and we always say, it's collaboration, not competition. So we're not in competition with each other. We really champion what the whole VA community are doing, and it's really amazing because a lot of sectors or a lot of industries sometimes don't do that. And I feel like the VA community is so close knit. And somebody said to me the other day, is there, there's so many VAs, is there enough work to go around? And I was just like, yeah, because, if everyone's lucky enough to have a VA in their life, they'll want to work with them for quite a while. And
Totally.
and there is loads of work, and we have such a range and broad range of skill sets between us, and personalities. Everyone's always going to have something to do. That's the way I see it, because
we were very fortunate to come along to the VA conference last year
with the Amanda Johnson.
With the sorry, Amanda, you're amazing. And we met you in person there as well.
No, we're not saying Amanda's not amazing.
But we got there, and we came away from that conference because we were speaking there, and we both came away really rejuvenated. And we've been to lots of industry specific events in the past with what we do, and actually it was the first time we'd both come away going, oh, that was refreshing. And exactly what you said there, it does not feel like you are in competition with each other. You are all really friendly, and ultimately that's part of your job, right? You are there as an arm's length member of someone else's team, so that's in your skill set anyway, regardless of who you are as a VA and what your sort of technical skill set is. And it was really apparent in that room, the amount of love and support and conversation that are around those tables. It was abundant. I think that's a really nice thing about what your industry is. It doesn't feel cliquey or bitchy, or sometimes other industries do feel that. And what you've got is an amazing extended family of support.
Yeah, a couple of things on this. Carry on.
I was just going to say really quickly, when you said about it's not sort of like cliquey or cliquey, when I first became a VA, I thought that maybe an event like that with 100 women might be like that. I honestly did. I really, I thought, is it going to be like little groups? Is everyone going to have their own sort of like, group? Is it? Because I didn't know if it was going to be, sort of like the VAs that have been there for a long time over here, the new ones here, everyone in their silos, but it just wasn't. It's just amazing that everyone can just get on. They've got that common goal that they're, they want to be the best VA they can be, and they want to have a community and have people they can lean on and just ring up, and say, I've had a really, pardon my French, but had a really shit day today. Can I just talk to you about it? And we've got that, it's just, it's amazing.
Yeah. It was really apparent from what we saw.
It was, and it also blew our mind, didn't it? So like beforehand, we knew some VAs, we'd met some, we'd sort of chatted to some, we had some as clients. And actually, we thought we knew, you know what it's like? You think you know everyone because you know everyone in your bubble. And then you turn up to something not that quite far away and your bubble absolutely explodes. I was going to say gets burst, but I don't think that's fair. It kind of explodes and you go, okay. It's like when you get excited when you meet someone new on LinkedIn and then you realize, or the reverse of that is like you've got 50 mutual connections and you go, oh, I thought they were going to be new. It's kind of the opposite of that. And so the VA conference did blow our mind at like, this is a fantastic industry. But the bit I was going to ask a question is, right, this people part, this sharing, this community, this working together, that feels like that's your secret sauce because it's coming so naturally to you that you're doing it without even trying. You are becoming this hub, and it's just in your nature. Once again, I always like to go back to, have you always been, into, we wouldn't have called it communities when we were. Yeah, I didn't want to call it that because that sounds like Slughorn out of Harry Potter, doesn't it? But yeah, have you always been like, I want to bring people together, or whatever words you want to explain it?
Yeah, I think I actually wrote connector on my sort of little bit, at the top on LinkedIn, because I actually feel that I am a connector. Whatever you want to call it. But I just think, and this, I feel geeky saying this, but I get joy out of seeing people connecting and being able to go and do something wonderful together, regardless of me being part of that. But I just love it when I see, I say to, I did it. One of my clients needed a photographer and I gave him Anthony's details. Anthony, right? Anthony Burdett. Gave him Anthony's details, and like they worked together. it went really well. Anthony was super happy. My client was happy. It was just a nice thing, you know, and I just love working with great people. And I think that's the thing as well. So I'm actually rewriting my website at the moment, and I'm actually going to have a partners page on there. And I did have a partners page on my old website when I first started, and then I changed it all and rebranded. But I'm going back to basics and back to where I first started, and I'm going to have that partners page. I'm going to have great people on my partners page I love to work with, that I've worked with over the 4 years. And I want other people to then see them on my website and think, oh, I'm going to go and work with Emily and Alan from Yellow Tuxedo, because the amazing Amanda Johnson, you know, all these top people that I've met so far. I just think collaboration is everything. It really is. It, you know, and connecting is so powerful. Really is.
No, it really is. And funnily enough, I was sat here because I've got your LinkedIn kind of profile here, right, on a second screen. And I was trying to find, I was convinced you'd spent some time in the wedding world, right? And I was trying to find if you'd listed it, and I finally found it, right? It's because it didn't have a logo against it.
Yeah.
So you spent, and what I was thinking is, and you kind of, you brought us there with what you were saying, that kind of partners page. That's not necessarily a done thing in the small business, what we call small business solopreneur world. But in the wedding world, you always had a page full of your partners, full of
exactly.
and I think that's fascinating how these two worlds are different, but I don't like saying things like that. But then at the same time, you're bringing, actually, why would I not do that? Because that's part of me. It makes total sense, doesn't it?
100%. And I think it's really interesting. So I worked with my best friend. We had our vintage pop-up tea party business called 50s. We did it for 7 years. We actually got a highly recommended from Sam Savage, who you obviously know. And you know, we got that. We went to the Hilton. We went to like an awards evening. It was bloody brilliant, and we loved it. And we did it for 7 years, but we couldn't continue doing it because it was too much with working full time and then doing that as our side hustle. But we met so many people, and I love events, super passionate about events. I manage events. I love doing them. And it is that whole just meeting new people. Everyone's in that room, impactful experiences. Absolutely love it. And I think, and then being in the sort of like the catering events, wedding side of it, it's really helped with this business.
Of course.
Because you've got to be super organised when you're doing these events. You know, you're meeting all these different people, so many different personalities. It's really helped. And
I always say this when people have had not saying you had, but more of a portfolio career. And we had this, I think it was Michelle Armitage's interview we did a few months ago. It's like, it feels really weird because she was doing HR type stuff and now she works in design psychology. There was a real shift in what she's doing. And I said, well, actually, when you look at the transferable skills of every, like, you know, you've worked, I don't know, in corporate, you've worked in retail, you've worked in hospitality, all those things, there are still those transferable skills that lead you to edge. And I think, yeah, absolutely on the nail there, especially in a catering kind of role within very, very high stress environment events weddings.
Yeah.
The things that you kind of glean off of that in terms of time management and processes and all of those absolutely feeds into how you would run a VA business. It makes complete sense to me.
Yeah. Definitely.
I don't mean this in my normal pedant way. I mean this in an amusing way. But do you mean high stress for weddings or emotionally charged? Emotionally charged. It's the clients are very invested in the end product.
That's a very nice positive spin on that,
yes.
Alan.
Right, I've got a question about events now, because actually I meant to bring up events and hadn't got round to it, and you've now brought it up. It was brilliant. So did your love of events, does that come from your corporate world, the wedding world, something beforehand? Like our love of events came from being in scouting for years. You know, where's your love of events come from?
Yeah, so it was basically when I got into corporate. So I would always be like the EA position. So I'd always be the one to organise the summer parties or the Christmas party, support smaller events, so like a customer business forum, or different engaging events throughout the year, and I just absolutely loved it. And I just get, again, it's that people thing. I just love seeing happy people at an event smiling, those moments in the event that people might not have noticed, but other people really noticed, and they're just these small details that made that person's day. I just love it. I just love watching people just smiling and just enjoying it, and then afterwards them remembering the event for years and saying, oh my god, do you remember in 2017 when we went to this event and this happened? That, to me, that's just
That's
amazing.
cool.
Yeah,
I would also just add
You're working in happiness.
going back to the initial question where we asked what you're trying to achieve, and you're like getting through each day, that kind of thing. I find that with weddings as well, or events as well, is because there's so much to get through in those kind of events that actually when we've done them previously, we've had to have that time to reset afterwards and go decompress. But you don't always get to when you're working on that kind of cycle of getting things, and that kind of mirrored what you said earlier. So maybe that's something in your do you like that reactive kind of feeling to just getting through each step to keep moving?
Yeah, no, I do. And I think it's like when you're you're building up to the event, obviously then event day comes. I don't sleep the night before events. I get really excited and really nervous, a bit like before Christmas. I just feel like I can't sleep, and then you get to the morning of the event and you're looking quite bleary-eyed because you haven't slept, but not because you've been out, drinking or whatever, just because you're thinking about everything that's going to go on. But I literally, you go through event day and it's just like, you don't know what, something might happen, something might go wrong, you've got to quickly pivot, you've got to troubleshoot. But when you get to the end of the event, you've got that feeling of relief that it's gone well. Maybe some things might have happened, but overall, sorry, I'm just throwing a pen around.
You throw that pen.
something might have happened, but you've been able to rectify it. But the sort of feeling of pride when and just happiness at the end of the event, it's nothing like it. It's really euphoric, I think, isn't it? It's just like you're so over the moon, aren't you, that this is
it's a little dopamine hit.
It's happened. And then you get that absolute brick wall that hits you of feeling absolutely worn out. Then I get a bit of sort of post-event grief, because I'm going to miss working on that event and working with that team, or those, those speakers, or that catering company, and you almost get that in-between bit of like, oh my God, I'm really sad now. And then you go to sleep, and then you wake up the next day and you're like, oh no, I'm all right. But
back onto it.
We used to do that. We used to run the Digital Circus Live, which was an online event, so not even in the same scale as an in-person type thing with all those.
Excuse me, we ran a global event online. It was huge, Emily, for the handful of people turned up.
You missed the global part.
The global part, but
exactly.
I think it comes with the same, not the same challenges as an in-person event, but the same level of stress management to moving parts, different timings.
I'm laughing at how much we used to literally do this over our internet connection, right? It was like, we literally went, we can't affect it, we're just going to have to roll with it. And it was like, come on, don't break.
But I do remember every single year we ran it, it was the day after, or the 2-3 days after, going, out of office is on right now, please just give us a little bit of time just to kind of, it's that decompression kind of piece, because you want to be able to lap it up and understand what you've just achieved. And
exactly.
how, I think, and exactly what you said earlier with what you love doing and that connector piece, we've always joked, or not joked, we've always said that we feel like we're conduits as well. So our role is to kind of help it. And when you've been to a big event like that and you've seen people meet for the first time,
big global
meeting as well, but you can see it happening, and it is something to feel proud of, because you can see these new connections, and it is awesome. But I've got one more question before you ask your final question.
Well, hold on. I've got, the problem is we do need to wrap up, and I've got 1,000 things to say. I feel this is one of those episodes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go for it.
What's in your pineapple thing?
This just orange and
It's
mango
gin
squash.
and tonic.
This
okay.
is so. I mean, other than just being a vessel to drink out of, this is. I guess this is very much in the moment. Like I like anything I can introduce into my world that will. Point one, make me smile, feel more fabulous, be more happy. And this is like, I could drink my squash out of a plain pint glass that I've acquired from a pub in 1988, right? I'm not that, no, I'll be underage, whatever. Or I could drink my squash out of a plastic pineapple that creates conversation, makes me smile when I touch, especially when I forget about it because I'm too busy chatting and I go, oh, I've got my pineapple, you know.
Well,
and I feel like I'm in Cuba drinking Cuba Libras or
that
something.
question about that pineapple and the living comes back to that whole living in the moment thing that you alluded to earlier. And what my final question is before Adam does the wrap-up question is that you're self-confessed living in the moment and living in the now and getting through each day as it comes. Do you have an end game? Do you have a what's going to happen in...
Like Avengers?
Not like Avengers, because that was actually quite
Oh my
sad.
gosh, hang on. You just said Avengers. On my card, this is weird. I've written on my team card, collaborative VA team card, I wrote Avengers Assemble.
Unbelievable.
Boom, mic drop, done.
Where do we go from here after that?
I don't know, but as long as you're not Tony Stark.
I just had to mention it. But
no, and that is why you're a very highly organised person. You even predicted what the last conversation would be in this entire interview without even knowing.
Yeah, that's a bit freaky.
But in all honesty, do you have Avengers Endgame for you? Do you can
but not Endgame in the way Avengers ended, because that's quite sad.
Well, I think
they won. They won. It can't be sad.
Well, Tony died.
Is that a spoiler if they won?
Bleep that out. If it's a spoiler. No. In case you haven't watched Endgame, nothing happens. Everyone lives happily ever after. Amazing. The question. So yeah, if you live in the moment now, do you still think ahead about what it could be and what maybe there's an exit strategy for business or what that looks like in the future?
Yeah, 100%. Because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have my goals and a plan to work to. Because I do like to be super organised, as we know, and I do like to have a plan. So at the moment, I'm working towards, as I said, I'm redoing the website. I'm going to look to do some different projects, but I've also got a really exciting project. And I know people say this all the time, don't they, to cause like
intrigue.
A bit of intrigue and mystery. But I actually have got a really exciting project that I'm working on at the moment, but I can't talk about it because it's not 100% going ahead, but I really hope it does. I'm crossing my fingers, crossing my legs. I won't do that all the time because obviously it won't be to work, but I'm hoping that it does go ahead and that will be launching next year. And that'll be me really pivoting into doing something different. So, yeah. But
is that daunting to go into something different?
What?
No, it's not, because I feel like it really will complete me. That's what I'm going to say. I think, personally and professionally.
Because this is why the word pivot should sometimes not be used, because actually it's more of an evolution of your business.
Yeah.
And you were about to say, do you know what? And we spoke over you for about the 15 millionth time. I need to know what you were going to say, and apologies for speaking over you.
Sorry, Laura.
No, it was me.
Do you know what?
I can't
remember. I don't know if I can remember now. Oh, but do you know what? I'm gonna throw something else in now, but I'm not embarrassed to say it. But I'm post-menopause, and I get a really bad brain fog. So you could tell me that I've probably said anything, and I won't remember, and I'll just agree at this point on a Friday.
That's everything I love about you, Laura. I mean, there's many things I love about you, but you're just so open and honest about all of it. And like, it's that normalization piece we said earlier. I'm going to throw it out there. Menopausal, I'm going to throw it out there. I shit my pants. It's fine, absolutely fine. And I think that is, it's really endearing. It's really endearing, and I think that again, you go back to your secret sauce. I think that's really that secret thing you've got going, or not so secret thing because everyone sees it, is you are so lovable and so open and honest about these things are happening in my life, and I'm going to put them in plain sight, and that's really, really, really great.
Thank you. I think I was just going to say to you though, I know a lot of people don't like it when you overshare, and I never, really overshare, but I think it's really important if you are suffering from symptoms of menopause, or you have got chronic illness, or you are neurodiverse or anything like that. I think you shouldn't need to hide. That's what I'm trying to say. You shouldn't need to hide, because
Totally.
it's super important. Everyone's just trying to make a living, get by, enjoy what they're doing. And I think the world's hard enough, isn't it, without having to hide, the real you. And if people don't like the real you, then they aren't a good fit to work or collaborate with you. And that's how I see it. And I'm just I used to, when I first started in business, I used to want to work with every client I could, because I thought I need to get my income in, I need to build this business up. But you slowly realize that you're not going to get on with everyone. You hope to in some form or another, but you won't get on with everyone, and you have to say no to people, and you can't say yes all the time, because you just break. And I think it's super important just to remember just to be you. And just believe in yourself. Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
She's so wise.
You are. You're very cool, very wise.
I'm not
Probably
cool.
cool. You,
Oh,
yeah,
you
but we genuinely need to wrap up. This is slowly becoming the longest ever episode,
No,
which
it's
is
not.
fine.
It's still
No,
Anthony Burdick Clark is Anthony Burdick Clark still holds the record for 56 minutes.
I don't think it is. No, it might have been 56 recorded. I don't know if that ends.
Anyhow, last question, Alan.
Well, I've got stuff I need to say first. So, yeah, we live in a world where the nerd shall inherit the earth, So if you are quirky and nerdy, ultimately you're now the cool kid. It's like, wearing your rucksack on two straps is now cool, whereas it always used to be one strap back in the 90s. You never rock a
How
one.
continental.
How continental. Right. We do need to wrap up. I've still got 10 million things I want to say. I'm going to ask one. Have we had a conversation before that we were both at Sam Savage's awards at the same time?
And we've had this conversation, Alan, I can't mention it again, but the Amanda Johnson's VA conference, and we had this conversation, didn't we? And we said that we sort of remembered each other maybe from an event's life, but I don't know whether you were at that awards. It was at the Hilton.
Well,
Hilton in Dorset or Hilton in
No,
Hampshire?
in Bournemouth.
No, didn't we go to one in Bournemouth?
Doesn't really matter.
Well,
Alan was very drunk at majority of them. So.
No, that's not true. I was the driver. I always drive.
I didn't tell you as well. You might have seen. I'm consciously not drinking alcohol anymore as well.
I did see that as a post.
Yeah.
I did see that, and fair play to you. Fair play. And are you seeing a health benefit to it, or a lifestyle benefit from it?
Yeah, I don't poo my pants so much.
This now has to be the poo in the pants episode. We can't end on it, right? And okay, right, we're going straight to the last question. Before we share stories of poo in our pants, which we've all done, hands up if you haven't. Let us know in the comments if you've never done it, because I think most people have. Laura, thank you so much for joining us. We always end on the same question. And the question is, if you could go back to your younger self and say anything to them, what would you say to your younger self?
Don't be scared.
Don't be scared.
Get out in the world. Don't be scared. And, you can literally do anything if you put your mind to it.
True.
And
it's okay if you poo your pants.
And I'm taking from this, everyone should be a bit more Laura.
Be more Laura. Absolutely.
Laura.
Right. Normally we would talk a little bit more, but I do feel we should end this one. So thank you all so much for joining us. And Laura, thank you so much for being with us today. It's been absolutely amazing. Cheers.
See you later next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye.